All right, good morning, class. This is our first look at the official web page here. You are now in the lessons page. We're going to talk about Texas, soldiers in life during the Civil War. What was it really like for Texans and young soldiers? All right, let's take a look at the numbers. We have the North versus the South numbers here. You can see right over here, you have the Union and the Confederate State Army. And just go ahead and take a minute to look over all these numbers here. You can see the total population living in the Union versus the total population living in the Confederate State. So you can see the Union had a whole lot more than the Confederate State. Go ahead and take a few minutes to look over all these numbers. And look at the soldier numbers here, 67% to 33%. All right, here's some notes. Remember during when you see red to take notes, to write down, follow in your guided notes section. If you need to pause, go ahead. Remember, Texas was part of the Confederacy and eager to participate in secession and the Civil War. Okay, so Texas, they left the Union, they joined the Confederacy, and they were ready to get involved in the fight. What famous Texas leader was against us leaving? Remember, I talked about it last week. He was a very famous Texas leader, and he was definitely against leaving. Go ahead and write that down in your notes where they ask you that question. And let's continue on. Over 70,000 Texans served in the Confederate Army, and Texas regiments fought in every major battle throughout the war. Interestingly, over 2,000 Texas men joined the Union Army. Why would Texans from a Confederate state join the Army? Why would Texans that lived down south with some of their family members fighting in the Confederate Army leave and go join the Union? You got 1 minute to go ahead and answer this question right here. Why would Texans from a Confederate state join the Union? About 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Let's continue on. All right. So why would Texans from a Confederate state join the Union? Well, most of the reason why was because some of them, remember, not everybody voted in favor of leaving. You had people like Sam Houston, who was that famous Texan, that wasn't in favor of it. So they left to go join the Union. And there were also people that were against slavery living in Texas. And whenever the actual battle happened, they left to go fight for that. Another reason why some in Texas left to go fight the Union is because a lot of their family members were in the North. Majority of their family members were in the North. So if they didn't have a whole lot of people living in the South, they left and went and fought for the North. All right, look at the age of the average soldier. You got the majority were under 16. So looking at all the young men in the room here, you guys would be fighting in this war. There wasn't that many people that were over the age of 23. This is a picture of what it looked like. This is your average soldier. You can see this guy right here cleaning his toenails. Pretty disgusting, but that was the life of a soldier. When they're not fighting, they were gathered around a fire and they were just playing around. This is their spare time. So first thing in the morning, this is from a Union soldier. This is what they did in their spare time. First thing in the morning is drill, then drill, then drill again, then drill, a little more drill, then drill, and lastly drill. Between drills, we drilled. So they were constantly training and practicing. So what was the biggest killer of the Civil War? Take 1 minute and go ahead and answer this question. What do you think killed more soldiers during the Civil War than anything else? You got 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, back at it we go. All right, so what was the biggest killer of the Civil War? That's right, disease and hygiene was the main killer. Be sure to pause if you need to write this down. Everyone and everything smelled during the Civil War. Okay, it wasn't like they'd get done with the battle and go hit the shower up. No, they didn't have time. They were constantly walking many miles, fighting, and with all this disease and not being able to clean themselves, they got really sick. And one of the biggest killers of that was diarrhea during the Civil War. Diarrhea was the greatest killer during the Civil War. Of the more than 620,000 soldiers who died in the war, more than 400,000 died of sickness and disease. Here's a picture of some battle scenes. When a battle took place, every structure, house, barn, yard, and field could become a hospital. So if you were not participating in the war, but you had a huge house, like in this picture right here, and there was a battle that happened out in your front yard, after the battle, they would come in, they'd ransack the place and start making your house a hospital. Other causes of death. Weapons technology. During the Civil War, the weapons technology increased. You had the rifle musket that came out. It killed more soldiers than anything else except disease. Its effects also created wounds that were difficult to treat. You would have men that would have to get their legs cut off because of bullet wounds, and they didn't have the proper medicine back then to be able to take care of it. Overall, over 500,000 men died in the Civil War. Let's take a look at these numbers right here. Okay, up here at the top, total Civil War deaths compared to U.S. deaths in other wars. Currently, the Civil War is has claimed the most amount of American lives, 620,000. World War II was a big war, right? 318,000. Look at the war we just got out of. Oh, it's not on here. I can tell you it's nowhere even close to these numbers. Okay. And then the Mexican War, the U.S.-Mexican War that we talked about right before we left, there was only 13,270 people that died in that one. All right, women in the war, okay? Don't forget about the women. They had a role too. They were more of our nurses, okay? They took care of the soldiers after they got wounded. Here's from Nurse Mary Steinbaugh. You have given your boys to die for the country. Now you can give your girls to nurse them. She was basically recruiting some of the girls to come help. All right, writing letters was the only way to stay in touch with your family while you were away at war. It's still that way today. I have some of the letters from my time overseas. What we're going to do now is you're going to hit, you're going to exit out of this. You're going to go to the in-class page.